Hi everyone, and we are back with another brand new episode of the Intuitive Psychology podcast. I'm your host, Jill Ritchie, and I'm here with my co-host, the lovely Sarah Gregg.
Hi. I love my little hi star.
Hiya. Okay, Sarah, so today we are going to make this a really nice, snappy, punchy, full of things that you can take away, because this one is about if you're being called to up level, here is your framework.
Yeah, here is your framework.
Just like that.
Just like that. You know, we talk a lot about the unconscious and the past and things that hold us back, but that's only one part of what we train our students in and what we're passionate about at the Intuitive Psychology Association. The second part is once we have created space and we're ready to up level, how do we do that? Like, how do we really move ourselves forward into our full potential in the future? Because there comes a point when you have to stop trying to fix the old and instead consciously make that shift to nurturing the new.
Yeah, and I guess it's around really feeling safe to step into the new, being in your authenticity and feeling, yeah, I'm ready to do it now. Because it's not just a case of, right, go do it now, go do it. Yeah, there is an element of having to take the action, understanding that there's never a perfect time. There's always going to be a reason not to do it. There's always going to be an element of fear, a little bit of imposter syndrome. I don't know if that ever fully goes away, if we're being completely honest.
No, I don't think so. And I think that a key kind of like part is, especially if you're, you know, you've really got into your inner work, you know, maybe you're meditating, you're journaling, you've maybe kind of dived into like deeper practices. There can be a point that you become addicted to fixing yourself because you're looking for that magic wand or that silver bullet that removes all of those parts. You know, we have this false idea of what it means to kind of be our full authentic selves and have that kind of like freedom to be ourselves. I think often we think it kind of comes in like a magic doomph. That's it. You fixed it. Now you've healed and now you're a different person.
I'm floating.
Yeah, I'm floating. I can go out and live my full life. But actually, you know, it's a duality. The two go hand in hand. You're in that process of being and becoming, you know, all at the same time. And we're in this continual evolution. And we need to be really careful when we're working, you know, with the past and we're getting these aha moments and these insights about ourselves that we don't get addicted to the fixing. We're not looking for things to fix all of the time.
And we're not looking for perfection. You will still, like I said, you're still going to feel elements of fear, but knowing that you are, I'm actually looking at a word right now that says story, right? And it's like not staying in your story. Actually, there's a new chapter to write. You've done an element of work. You're understanding the unconscious, subconscious, what's been holding you back. You've had those moments. It is time to, that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. I know it can be a little bit overused, but maybe, you know, there is like understanding that, you know, it does feel scary. I've actually never done it this way before with so much awareness, less numbing out. But you need to do it. It's the action that creates the change that then gives you the evidence to say, okay, I didn't die there. And actually that was safe. I was okay.
Yeah. And I love that you kind of said like feel the fear and do it anyway. And I think the difference is when you do the work, on the past and you've released some of those unblocks, fear is no longer in the driver's seat, but it still might be in the passenger seat. Maybe eventually it'll make its way, you know, to the back seat and you'll create a further distance from it, but it will still be there often in some capacity, especially when we're at that up level stage. You know, when we're at that stage where it's like, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to do something that I haven't done before. Maybe you're doing something that really breaks like a generational past. Maybe you're the first person in your family who's going to like make this leap or move. You know, you're being called into that full potential. This is the framework that is going to help you get there. It is based on one of our intuitive psychology techniques, which uses intuition and psychology, that beautiful blend of modern psychology and ancient wisdom. And it's called Power Goals. This is something that is really hard for me to say in my Northern Irish accent. So
Power Goals.
Power Goals.
Power Goals.
Good old Power Goals.
Power Goals.
Power. Power. That's the subtitles for the podcast, because I'm pretty sure whatever subtitles are potentially appearing on whatever streaming platform you're using is also not able to decipher this accent. So this is based on that technique, and we're going to give a simplified, revised, shortened version that will still be really, really powerful for you to take away and instantly implement at the end of this.
Okay, love it. So let's get into it. First stage of taking the action to achieve the goal. Sarah, let's talk about that.
So the first stage is getting really, really clear on specifically what that goal is. If you're not comfortable with the word goal, you can say your intention or your aspiration, whatever kind of like resonates and fits with you. So getting really clear. Ideally, you want to be able to write this down in 1 or 2 sentences. Now, when we say really clear, it doesn't have to be specific, like I will do this by April or by December. It can be more of a feeling. It's whatever intuitively really resonates with you. The important thing is when you write down that 1 or 2 sentences, you want to be able to read it back, close your eyes and really feel, how does that land in my body? Do these words really resonate and feel good for me? And it will look different for each person. Maybe there is a specific financial goal that you want to hit.
Yep.
Maybe there is a specific kind of like event you want to attend, or a life event that you want to have, or maybe it's more of a feeling or a thing. So whatever that is for you, you want to write it down. Why write it down? Well, the research proves time and time again that when we write goals down, we are statistically more likely to achieve them. So this is going to really increase your level of success. And the second thing that's really, really important is your intention, goal, aspiration must be written in the positive, which means you write down what you do want as opposed to what you don't want. And the reason for that is energy goes where attention flows. So for example, Jill, if I ask you to not think of a big pink elephant.
The big pink elephant is here.
The big pink elephant is there because our brain doesn't process negatives. So if I tell you, this is a great example that I use all the time. Do you ever go to like a social event and you say to yourself, do not tell that story. Do not share that bit of information that you're not meant to share, or do not tell that story. And normally within the first kind of like hour or something of being there, you're like, it's out of your mouth. Yeah. You're like, why did I told myself not to do that?
So why do we do that?
So the brain can't process negatives. So it doesn't understand negatives. In other words, in order to not think of something, the first thing that you have to do is think about it. So we want to remove that. So energy goes where attention flows. So if we're saying, don't do that thing, what happens is paradoxically, our energy goes
don't
towards...
look down.
Our energy goes towards that thing.
So I'm instantly thinking about the kids. Don't do that. Don't do that. They just do it. I'm like, why did you just do that? 'Cause I told you not to.
Yeah, because their energy goes towards it. So you're more likely to do the thing that you've told yourself not to. So we want our energy to flow effortlessly towards what we do want. When this happens and we set this conscious intention in our brain, our neural pathways and systems begin to focus all of our finite attention and energy in that direction. It gives us that North Star, that focus point that we're looking for. So you wanted to say it in the positive. So I want, or I will, or I desire to. And then really make it a powerful statement that lands for you.
Okay, and what about the I am? So, you know how we've got the I want to, I'd like to, I desire to versus the I am, because we hear a lot, and I know that so many people listening to this will do I am affirmations. I guess what would you say if there is a difference between them?
I think like if we think about it linguistically, so I will assumes that you're not there yet. I am assumes that I already am being that thing. So I am is often more powerful.
Yes.
But again, it just depends on what resonates for you.
Because it can be too much for someone, right? I love an I am, but this is where the words that you write down are so powerful. If you're like, absolutely hate the way you look, if you're standing in the mirror going, I am beautiful, I love myself, and you are so far away from that, that is not going to resonate.
No.
Okay? That is like trying to tune another radio station and expecting to get one that you know, it just won't work. Your frequency is so far apart. But if you were to say, I'm learning to love myself.
Yes. Or I will give myself permission to go on a journey of self-love, and I will commit to this journey deeply and fully every day.
Yeah.
That can create more of a level of safety and a deeper level of alignment.
And resonating, right? It resonates more. It's like, okay, that doesn't sound like too big a leap for me. And then eventually you start to be the I am learning to love myself, right? And I think that's really important that we get, when Sarah was saying try and put it in one sentence, what it is that you're trying to achieve, what your goal, what your aspiration is. This is why when you read it back, close down your eyes, breathe, like really emotionalize that sentence. That's important. Emotionalize the sentence. How does it feel? If it feels, okay, there's a little bit of jarring. Is there a word that I need to change? Is it the full sentence that I need to change? It doesn't need to feel like, oh yeah, that's like 100 for me. But if it's like, this feels like I'm a little bit nervous here, but actually this feels really like this is the one. You will know, and again, it goes back to trusting your intuition and how words matter.
Words really matter. Words will have a huge impact, and this is where finding a quiet space and taking your time to do this. And it may take 3, 4, maybe even 10 goes, but taking your time to cultivate that is important, because what you're doing is you're really drilling down to what intuitively, which ultimately is what authentically you want. And that's important, because often we can set goals for other people, or we set goals based on what we think that we should say rather than what needs to be said. So your goal or your aspiration or intention might even come down to a word. It might just be fulfillment. It might be joy. It might be expansion. It may be a sentence. It is so specific for you. The framework is the same, but what you elicit, if that resonates with you in your body and you connect with that, and it's like, you know, I want to step into my full potential. Like, that's my goal for this year. I want to step into my full potential, and that resonates with you on a deep level. Then hold that, because words have vibrations, they have energy, they have meaning.
They cast spells.
They do, and they activate an emotion within our body. So taking time to get really clear on that, writing it down and stating it in the positive are all evidence-based ways to really make sure that we're setting ourselves up for an increased likelihood that we will get into a more rapid alignment with that goal.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? I love that you said the words have vibrations. They absolutely do, and that is why your words matter. How you are expressing that, and again, going back to the importance of emotionalising it.
And I love that you said that. So again, when you're reading back the statement, does it elicit an emotion or a feeling in your body, or does it kind of feel a bit like meh? Yeah, that's kind of a nothingness. Really work on that statement until you get to the point where it elicits an emotion, where you go, oh, I feel that in my body.
Yeah, and even like we were talking about power goals there, like, and really like having that goal. Again, often going just not off topic, but slightly deeper. So if you're someone that gets this, you're listening to like, okay, I get that. But there's something more, an exercise that we do with our membership, and we've done it ourselves, Sarah, is your mission. Because I think as well, you might not have specific goals. Maybe you want to connect deeper to what's your purpose, what's your mission, and you can do it with that as well. Like really having perhaps a few sentences, and you might want to write down a page of, okay, like what do you want to do? Who do you want to be in the world? Like how do you want to show up? How do you want to feel? writing that down, and then actually how do you then break that down into a small paragraph of, okay, what is my mission? When you drop into your body, what are you here for? What are you here to create? Because actually when you get really clear, and again, this is a little bit deeper than that one, but again, I think it's relevant. When you get really clear on your mission and your purpose and who you're being, actually, as a byproduct, the goals and the things that you want to achieve actually naturally come in.
Yeah.
When you get really clear on that, Sarah. So I know we went slightly off there, but I think it's really good.
I think it's really important, because actually, as humans, when we are connected to something that is bigger than us, then it really pulls us through. So like really taking time to think about, you know, as you look at that goal that, you know, you're being called to up level, you're in that transition of change, you want to make those moves, sit in and asking yourself, like, why is this important? Yeah. Like, and you can ask yourself this, you know, 5-7 times, write it on a bit of paper, you know, like, why do you want this? What does this give you in your life? How does this change things for you? And ultimately just drilling down to those deeper layers will bring you to that deeper purpose. And that's where that's really, really powerful.
It is so powerful, because maybe it's like, well, I want to achieve 10 different things, and striving to do that is beautiful, emotionalizing it, getting your language right around it. But when you go deeper and you connect to, well, maybe you don't know what your goals are, but you just know how you want to feel. Okay, so what do you think your purpose is? What are you here to do? Who are you here to be? It's so amazing. And we've seen this before, Sarah, when we really drop, if we're even struggling with someone or something, or even our students, our membership, we'll get them into, okay, like really drop in, like, what's your mission? What's your purpose? Who are you here to be? That emotional, what comes from that person, you see it physically, like we see it, the physical changes in that person, how they're able to emotionalize that, and suddenly it's not about the story, it's about the energy, it's about something even deeper.
Yeah, it is. And then the second phase of that is an alignment check. So is this goal, aspiration, what you're being called up level in alignment for you? And a great question that we use all the time at the Intuitive Psychology Association is, what if I do and what if I don't? And this is really powerful, because this is where, you know, we really draw on our ability for the mind to time travel. So our mind doesn't work in linear time. It can move really quickly between past, present, and imagined or potential future. So when we go, okay, well, what happens if I do this? What happens if I don't do this? All of a sudden, we're able to invite in some contrast, and we're able to quickly see the two alternative paths of if I take action on this or I don't. And that's a really, really great way to increase our motivation levels. Of course. To really make sure that it is in deep, authentic alignment for us. And then we can progress to the next stage, which is all about visualization. When we talk about visualization, this doesn't refer to just simply visual imagery. This refers to imagery, visualization of how you will feel. So the emotions that are in the body, also what you will see, and also what you will hear. Now, when we combine all of these senses together, this is what elite athletes actually use to increase their performance. It's proven to dramatically increase performance amongst athletes and in various other like disciplines. In fact, visualization is so powerful that it can evoke physical responses. So an athlete can visualize moving their muscle as if they were lifting a weight, and the muscle will actually have a reaction and change and contract. And here's a really like cool kind of like simple exercise to bring this to light to you now if you're listening. So you can see the physiological changes that happen when we visualize, and why this is so important we'll go on to share in a second. So I want you to imagine a lemon, like a big yellow lemon. And I want you to imagine like cutting that lemon and like squeezing some like on your tongue, and the lemon drops kind of like coming in, and that little kind of like bitter fizz that kind of like, you know, comes in, that sourness. And Jill's already kind of like moving her mouth, right? Because you're likely that you've started to salivate. So there's no lemon here, but your body is having a physical response. Now, why is this important? Well, when we are up leveling and moving into our potential, we can create the emotions in our body that prepare us for that. So it comes back to the I am statement. My mouth's still salivating from that lemon thing, and like had to take a big swallow there. But we can emotionalize that response so we can change on a cellular level.
Yeah, for sure. Because the mind doesn't know the difference really between what's really happening or what you've imagined.
Yeah.
It's the same response, right? So how clever. Because we can start to almost project that, emotionalize that. The body, mind, the response is, I've done that already.
Exactly.
I've done that. And this is, again, going back to the I am, right? But it's not just saying I am, we have to bring in the emotion, right?
We have to bring in the emotion. So when you're visualizing, you're going to take your statement that you've written down and you're going to close down your eyes, because this amplifies everything in terms of imagery. Again, just to be clear, we're talking about all forms of imagery, sensory, feeling, because we all have different capacities, especially if you're thinking about this and you're not a very visual person. That doesn't exclude you from visualization. That's a really common misconception. So you close down your eyes and you imagine a future where you are doing that thing, and make it as vivid as possible. Vivid in terms of how you feel. Maybe there's a confidence, a fulfillment, a joy, a satisfaction. And amplify that through your body. So it's like turning up a dial. That's what I want you to imagine do. Imagine like you're really turning up a dial. Make that feeling bigger. Let it grow in your body until it takes over and you can feel it in every single cell.
Yeah.
Get that imagery. Picture yourself. Maybe you're going to give a presentation, for example. You know, and you're going to picture yourself standing up. How does your voice sound? How do the people look as you kind of like gaze out at that crowd? Imagine their faces engaged. Hear your voice being strong and clear. Maybe you notice that, oh, my heart rate is a little bit rapid, but I know that I'm safe and I can do this. We're painting up this picture.
Yeah.
And why this is important for up leveling is when you up level, you're going into the unknown, and the unknown is unfamiliar. So we cling to the familiar past and we don't want to go into the unknown future. So by visualizing and getting really clear on where we want to go and why we want to do it, and emotionalizing those statements and then amplifying it with the visualization, is what happens is the unknown decreases. We're creating a new sense of familiarity and safety in our body so that it is less triggering, so that we can really let go of the familiar past and move with greater confidence into the unknown future. We are literally changing on a neurological pathway level and a cellular level, so that we're saying to, you know, mind, body and soul, it's safe for you to move forward.
Yeah.
It's safe for you to go in this direction, because this is how it's going to feel.
I love that. And also, on an energetic, vibrational level, you're changing. So if you are trying to attract something that you really desire into your life and you are in a state of lack or fear, it's pretty much impossible to bring it in. And even if you do, the likelihood is it won't last, because you're not energetically, you're not a match for it. So when you are actualizing these emotions, when you are, and we see this because when you were talking, Sarah, I was thinking about when we were in Ibiza at the Yoga Fit retreat, and we were running it, and we were taking everyone through the future self visualization exercise, and we turn up the volume and we double the feeling, triple the feeling, quadruple the feeling, and it's amplified energetically. Just because you can't see it, it's happening. You are calling in, you are attracting everything on that level, because you're there. You're actualizing it, you're being it. And so when you start to then manifest, it's so interesting, because when people come out of that, they're like, oh my God, I've just looked and I've just received this email. This client's just come and asked to work with me. I've just been asked to speak on stage. That is because you are vibrationally, you are an energetic match for that. That is how incredible this work is when you bring in the emotion and you bring in the energetics to it. You call in and you manifest, just with ease. We've done it. We've seen it happen so many times. That is the power of this work.
It is the power of this work, and it's something that psychology and science can't understand as to why exactly that happens, although there's a lot more research into like quantum physics and different kind of interesting things. But we know from stories and from our own direct experience that it does happen. And it changes you, because let's be honest, you can feel someone's energy. You can feel someone's energy.
You walk in a room, Sarah. Let's be honest, right? We can walk in a room, and if someone's in a mood, you feel it. We've used that saying, oh my goodness, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife.
Yeah.
Could you feel that energy in there? You feel it. We're so tapped in.
Or I often think back to whenever I was single, which was a long, long time ago now. I've been married for, I've been with my partner. It'll actually be 20 years. Can you believe that? I'm not old enough for that. I was with him when I was 5, 20 years this year. But I remember the nights that I would go out and I would be like, I am not interested in anybody, and I had that real confidence, and people would gravitate towards that confidence. But what you feel like a neediness and a desperation and a fear. And so visualization can really help change your energetic state. It helps you deeply align with who you know that you're capable of being. Because remember, we are lots of potentialities. We are our past, our present, and our future. And when we're working with the past, we're calling those parts forward that are blockers, that are in the way, that have kept us safe but no longer serve us. But when we're working with the future, we're also calling parts of ourselves forward that are in us. We're calling forward our ambition, our creativity, our love for life, our talents, our gifts, our joy, our happiness. We're moving these parts forward, and we're enabling them to take up more space. So deepening that visualization, thinking about, what will I hear people say?
Yeah.
What will people say? How will people respond? How will it feel? What will I see? And all of this deepens. Now, you can use this framework over and over again. So you might take some time after this podcast to write down your goal. You might want to take that goal and put it at your bedside table. And I would recommend reading it first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Why? Because when we read it last thing at night, and especially when we look at images or visualizations like last thing at night, it goes into the unconscious mind. So because when we sleep, we're processing information. So that's a really, really brilliant time to do it. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. And then when you're doing the visualization, just take 5-10 minutes, whatever you have in your day, just to close down your eyes and really anchor in being in that state.
Being in the scene. Being in the scene. So if it's on a beach, feel the sand in between your toes, feel the sun on your face, hear what you hear. Who is there? What are you wearing? How do you look? What are you wearing on your feet? Bring as much detail in as possible and feel it. Smile as well.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, smile, imagine, because you would be smiling, if you were manifesting that and that was in your life, you would feel happy. So bring in joy, bring in happiness, and do it as often as possible. When I was really on this journey of changing my life, I did it as many times as I possibly could. And when you said reading it at night, I used to read it out loud, sometimes 10 times over. Yeah. 10 times over. There's no limit, but you do it as often as you can because it's feel good, right? You want to feel good.
It does. It feels really, really good. And it helps us be the embodiment. It helps us reduce the fear of the unknown. It helps us bring forward those parts that have maybe sat in the background for a little bit and allow them to take up more space and for us to feel safe to do that. So that is our framework and protocol for how to up level. We'd love to hear your feedback on this. Give it a go and let us know what changes and maybe what manifestations come to life for you.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone.